When you step into a massive sports bar or a bustling conference room, you expect the announcements to just, well, work.
Right, but if you actually glance at the spec sheets for the audio gear powering those spaces, you're immediately drowning in technical jargon.
Oh, totally. So welcome to today's Deep Dive. We are looking at a specific piece of commercial audio hardware today, the QSC AC-S4T-BK.
Yeah, the AcousticCoverage Series 4-inch two-way loudspeaker, which is, quite a mouthful.
It really is. And our mission today is to decode all that jargon and figure out exactly what makes a $310 pair of commercial speakers mathematically perfect for AV conferencing and background music. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Well, to really get why this gear works, we have to look at the physical mechanics first. Inside the enclosure, you have a 4-inch polypropylene woofer paired with a 1-inch aluminum dome tweeter.
Right?
And together, they cover 70 hertz to 20 kilohertz and can hit up to 103 decibels of peak sound pressure.
Which is incredibly loud. But instead of just calling them highs and lows, let's think about the physics here. It's almost like a choir.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right. The woofer is this robust baritone handling the 70 hertz lows, while the aluminum tweeter is your sharp soprano hitting those 20 kilohertz highs.
Yeah, exactly. Because to hit that crisp 20 kilohertz high, that 1-inch tweeter literally has to vibrate 20,000 times a second.
Wow, that is fast.
So it has to be made of something incredibly stiff and light, like aluminum, just to move that fast without warping.
While that 4-inch woofer has the surface area to physically push enough air to give the lower frequencies some actual body.
Exactly. And that specific division of labor is super intentional. Most consumer speakers are tuned to pump out booming, heavy bass for your living room.
Right, nobody wants to watch a movie without the bass.
Yeah, but this commercial model is explicitly voiced for the human vocal range instead. In a noisy environment, you don't want rattling bass muddying up the sound.
Oh, that makes sense.
You need the physics of that aluminum dome cutting through ambient noise with absolute precision, so a paging announcement is actually intelligible.
Which naturally leads to the geometry of the room, I think.
Yeah.
Because if we're just chasing vocal clarity, why couldn't I just buy a high-end home speaker and crank the amplifier up to its 16 watts RMS to blast it across a sports bar?
Well, what's fascinating here is how commercial dispersion solves that exact problem. This unit uses a 130-degree conical coverage.
Wait, 130 degrees. That is a massive footprint.
It really is. If you crank up a standard home speaker, which typically has a much narrower sound beam, you just create a deafening hotspot directly in front of the cone.
Oh, and completely muffled dead zones off to the sides.
Exactly.
So by engineering a 130-degree wide dispersion, you actually need fewer speakers overall, because each one bathes a much wider area in even sound.
Yeah, that's the trick.
But if one speaker covers a massive area, you're inevitably spreading them out across huge distances. So how do you push an audio signal, say 300 feet down a hallway, without it turning into a weak, garbled mess by the time it reaches the end?
That's where the included 70 or 100-volt transformer comes in. It also has an 8-ohm bypass, but the transformer is key. It's just basic physics. Stepping up the electrical voltage significantly lowers the current.
Oh, and lower current means less friction.
Right, less friction or resistance as the signal travels down hundreds of feet of copper wire. It allows installers to daisy-chain a massive line of speakers off a single amplifier over incredible distances without losing signal strength.
That is brilliant. But even with great sound and wide coverage, this hardware still has to survive a commercial environment.
Oh, definitely.
The specs list a UV-treated ABS plastic enclosure and an IP44 rating, so it's verified to resist dust and splashing water.
Yeah, it's not going to degrade just because it's mounted near a patio door or a dusty warehouse vent. It also features a ported baffle.
Right, which basically uses specifically tuned holes in the casing to control internal airflow.
Exactly. That reinforces those lower frequencies we talked about earlier without needing a larger, heavier box. And weight matters immensely when you're installing these things.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine an installer balancing at the top of a 20-foot ladder. They don't have time to fumble with tiny, complicated screw terminals to connect those long wires.
Which is why the included yoke mount system and that 4-pole Euroblock connector are such ultimate problem solvers.
With the loop-through wiring, yeah.
Yeah.
You wire up the plug while you're safely on the ground, climb the ladder, and simply snap the block into the back of the speaker.
It just turns a nightmare wiring job into a modular plug-and-play system. It really is a masterclass in balancing acoustic engineering with practical reality.
So you get that highly tailored vocal clarity, projected through an ultra-wide 130-degree footprint to minimize hardware.
Right. All wrapped in a physically resilient, easy-to-deploy package.
Next time you are standing in a loud, sprawling commercial space and you hear a perfectly crisp announcement cut through the chaos, take a second to look up, you might just wonder how much brilliant acoustic engineering is hiding in plain sight, right above your head.